Dear Dumb Diary, never do anything ever. Dear whoever is reading my dumb diary, are you sure you're supposed to be reading somebody else's diary? Maybe I told you that you could, so that's okay. But if you are Angeline, I did not give you permission, so stop it. If you are my parents, then yes, I know that I am not allowed to call people idiots or dipwats or blonde-wats or half-wits and herds and all that. But this is a diary, and I didn't actually call them anything. I wrote it. And if you punish me for it, then I will know that you read my diary, which I am not giving you permission to do. Now, by the power vested in me, I do promise that everything in this diary is true, or at least as true as I think it needs to be. Signed, Jamie Kelly. P.S. Angeline, if this is you reading my diary, then you should know that reading another person's diary is a federal crime and a very ugly thing to do, and no amount of staggering beauty, inner or outer, can compensate for it. P.P.S. Which means that you stand a good chance of being the ugliest girl in prison. And if you have ever watched any of those reality police videos on TV, you know that most of those girls would need an extreme makeover just to achieve the delicate good looks of a warthog. Sunday 1st. Dear Dumb Diary, Isabella and I happened to see Angeline at the store today. Isabella wanted to buy some of that hair-removing foam because her arms are too weirdly hairy. I tried to talk her out of it. Not because her arms aren't hairy, because they are kind of chimpy. But because little hairless, naked baby arms would be way more weird. See? Chimpy. Angeline was sniffing around over by the hair stuff, obviously shopping for whatever secret things she uses to keep her hair all perfect. As you may recall, Dumb Diary, Isabella is a master of disguise. She quickly grabbed us some sunglasses and hats so we could secretly follow Angeline and see what she bought. Quick notes on disguises. As you're walking, you have to occasionally lower the magazine you're hiding behind so you don't knock over a display of baby bottom nipples. Modern Buller. Petting Zoo owner magazine. Number 1 Grandpa. Bass fishing. Surprisingly, Angeline didn't buy shampoo or conditioner or coloring gel or hair straightener or unstraightener or anything big like that. She only bought one little item, and she carelessly let us right to it, a barrette. It must be some sort of special barrette because Angeline, as everyone knows, is beautiful to the point where you know it probably even actually sickens her sometimes to look in the mirror. But now her private barrette secret is ours. Haha, Angeline, let's see how you stack up to me now that I also possesses your precious secret simple barrette. Behold. I would have bought more than one, except the store guy wanted me to pay for the magazines I wrecked during the Nipper event. Monday 2nd. Dear Dumb Diary, okay, these barrettes are not as simple as you may think. I mean, sure, you can sort of pull your hair aside with one, and that's okay, I guess, but Angeline must have some sort of special technique for attaching it to her head, because I couldn't exactly duplicate her results. I wanted to practice on Stinker's ears a couple of times to get the hang of it, but Stinker is very, very sensitive about his ears, and it upsets him to have them touched. So I had to sit on him to do it. Anyway, I think I finally got it, and tomorrow I am really going to have it going on. Here's a drawing of me having it on. I think I may also be all up in that, but I'm not sure exactly what that means. Probably jealous. Tuesday 3rd. Dear Diary, remember Hudson River's 8th cutest guy in my grade? I'm very sorry to report that he has a vision problem. Not only did he utterly fail to notice the spectacularness of my new hair accessory when he was walking to me at my locker today, but when Angeline walked right past and inflicted beauty upon him, he failed to even notice her. I wish I could have enjoyed that moment more, except I felt bad about Hudson's tragedy. I mean, everybody notices Angeline. Angeline had the beauty turned on full blast. At first, I wondered if maybe Hudson just wanted to talk to me and wasn't that interested in Angeline at all. I mean, come on. He did write me a poem once, but fortunately Isabella was on hand to explain how wrong I was. She says that people who don't notice Angeline have some sort of problem like vision issue, perhaps fork-related, are only interested in physically ugly people, are fossilized or almost fossilized. If the tragedy is limited to Hudson's eyes, I said that he could just get glasses, and then Isabella flew into this huge crazy rage about glasses and how they destroy your life and how she would do anything to get rid of hers. When Isabella says she would do anything, you should believe her. One time when she was 5, she physically attacked a Mars Santa for not bringing her a panda bear the previous Christmas. It was pretty terrifying. When the paramedics finally arrived, he had lost a lot of nog and was shaking like a bowl full of jelly. To perform artificial resuscitation on Santa, you are required to keep his hands under the mistletoe through the procedure. Tuesday and Thursday are my phys ed days. Thankfully, it's at the very end of the day, so I don't have to walk around stinkfully afterwards, and we can also hear the buses line up right outside the gym, which is a handy way to tell time since the only clock in our gym, like most gym clocks, are broken by the basketball back in 1945. Smash! They all probably looked like Abe Lincoln back then. As usual, we ran laps in the gym today, which made me feel like I was going to have a baby out of my left side. I calmly suggested to Mr. Dover that he finds something new for us to do. As I lay on my back and tried to massage out a cramp that had developed inside the cramp that was inside the cramp in my leg. He looked at me for a moment, and I think he felt some pity or disgust. Anyway, he said, "Okay, I bet it's going to be something great." Wednesday 4th. Dear Diary, today, Mom made me gather up old clothes and junk I didn't want anymore. She must be giving them to charity or something. It has been a while since I cleaned out the drawers. Here are a few of the items I decided to part with. 4-inch long gum wrapper chain that was going to be 100 feet long. Magic 8-bar that always gives the wrong answer. Box of Barbies with failed makeovers. The old clothes made me think back to simpler times and wonder why I ever wanted to grow up. And then I saw this shirt I used to wear, the main feet, that has a stupid duck in a cowboy hat on it. The main feature of this shirt was the massive permanent chocolate pudding stain on the front. I wondered how many times Mom had dressed me in that big or pudding stain and let me go out in public. If my future children are reading my diary years from now, here's a tip. If you spill pudding on your shirt, don't tell Grandma. She will let it rot on there until it grows molds or other funky smelling fuzzy stuff. Tell Mommy Jamie and she will lovingly make Daddy wash it. Wash this. Yes, my queen, my movie star husband. Meet the hot mom. And while I'm talking to the future, here's a little note to myself in case I'm reading this diary years from now when my mom is all super old. Dear adult Jamie, your mom loved you and did her best raising you, but you're really hot and really rich now anyway. Sure, she made just a few mistakes, and so she should feel good about that, because it means that you only have to get even with her for a mere handful of things. Here are a few ideas I had just to get the old revenge bar rolling. Squish, squash. No. Prunes only. Clean her face with a spit-it-on napkin in restaurants like she used to do to me. Not let her have whatever is the popular older person in medicine, even though all her friends get to have it. Sell her gross, weird old lady things out on the lawn where everybody can see them. Thursday 5th. Dear Dumb Diary. You know that Thursday is, right? Dear Dumb Diary. It's meatloaf day at school. Have I mentioned that before? Today's meatloaf tasted like morning breath baked into loaf form, which means it was a distinct improvement over last week's meatloaf. And phys ed this afternoon, Mr. Dover, his first name is really Ben. Can you believe it? Told us that he took my suggestion and tried something new, and we will be starting a month of some new phys ed program called something like Outward Adventure Outreach something. It's supposed to build teamwork, which is when a whole bunch of people work together to do something wrong instead of doing it wrong one at a time. Teamwork. So Dover began by putting us into letter groups of 4. Of course, Angeline and Hudson wound up in the same little group because Angeline has some sort of evil power over the universe. Margaret was also in Angeline's group. Margaret, the school pencil eater, which means that she is the only one whose number 2 pencil actually wind up as her number 2's. Fortunately, Mr. Dover made Isabella the 4th member of that group, so at least I have somebody to spy on Angeline and Hudson for me. My group was Mike Pincetti. He's the nickname king of our school, and he might have a crush on me, yuck. And he's a huge human sack with turds. And Nika Martin, that ugly kid whose name I forgot, who I am going to abbreviate as TUKYNIF. Our first exercise Our first exercise was called trust farts. Huge turds. Trust farts. Our first exercise was called trust farts. This is when one group member closes their eyes and slowly tips over backward, trusting their teammates to catch them before they hit the ground. Isabella has mean big brothers, so her ability to trust human being has decayed away to nothing. Isabella could no more summon the trust too far backward into somebody's arms than she could far backward into a wood chipper, as far as she can go. This got her into trouble with Mr. Dover because gym teachers get upset if you don't go or jockey and high-fivey about their little sporty events, which are good, and since it kept me from getting in trouble when Pinsetti cracked his head on the gym floor because I may have been staring across the gym at Angeline and Hudson when I was supposed to be not letting Pinsetti and his trusting head down. But in my defense, Pinsetti and his head are probably too trusting. Anyway, Mr. Dover switched Isabella with Anika. So I don't have anybody to listen in on whatever Adeline is saying to Hudson, whose vision seemed to have miraculously been resorted to normal as far as staring at Angeline goes. Of course, she did have her beret artfully embracing on silky ribbon and flawless blonde hair, and Hudson may have been fixated on that alone, helplessly beret blind. Friday 6th. Dear Dumb Diary, Angeline is doing some sort of walkathon for Trudy this weekend, and she asked Isabella and me to sponsor her. This is where we donate a dime for every mile she walks. I know, it sounds good, but Angeline doesn't just walk in a straight line. Eventually, she turns around and walks back. If she just kept walking and walking, I'd give her $100. But she said it's for some sort of Amazon cause, like sending stuffed animals full of candy to hungry toddlers in Where's a Hegestein? I don't know. We said okay. From Angeline, USA. Pure niceness and sensitivity. Later, as we considered Angeline's sacrifice and her willingness to volunteer her time and effort for people she doesn't know will live millions of miles away, we had to admit, Angeline is super stupid. Ha 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 ha. Saturday 7th. Dear Dumb Diary, Dad dropped me off at the salon today. This is supposed to be one of the best hair salons in the whole city, and the stylist, Colette, is really and truly from France, or someplace where she graduated from the greatest hair college in the world. Colette usually cries at the end of our appointments, and lots of times she asks me to leave through the back door, but I think she has to keep seeing me because they made her take some sort of oath back at her hair college. It's like how doctors can just walk past you if you're in an accident. And let's face it, My hair is bleeding to death on the sidewalk. I really didn't even need a haircut, but I asked her to put in the barrette. She spent a long time dealing with it and couldn't get it to work. She said my hair was rejecting the barrette like a transplanted organ. But if I wanted, she could phone a barrette consultant of hers to talk her through the procedure. I was pretty psyched about this, since if it's somebody's job to be an on-car barrette consultant, they're going to know techniques that even Anthony hasn't heard of. When Colette returned, she said that she could get a hold of the consultant. The consultant's mom said that the consultant was out getting sponsors from a walkathon tomorrow. But we could try back later if we wanted to. That means the mystery consultant could be only one person. Like I was going to give Angeline the satisfaction, probably some kind of secret experimental atomic barrette. I told Colette that I had just remembered that our school had a policy against barrettes because a month ago a girl was incidentally nodding her head and her barrette flew across the room and champed around the neck vein of some nasty blonde girl, and she went unconscious, and now barrettes are legal there, and they are considering putting some limits on scrunchies as well. Chomp, clomp. I know, it was a pretty stupid lie, but I don't have the deception abilities Isabella has in moments like this. I'm just not in touch with my inner evil the way Isabella is. And I know that I'm probably a huge disappointment to her because of it. Oh, Isabella, I'll try to be worse. Really, I will. Okay, she's probably not this upset. Sunday 8th. Dear Dumb Diary, I discovered Mom's latest sinister plan. She wasn't donating my old clothes. She was having a garage sale. When I woke up this morning, Mom had put mountains of our junk out in the driveway. Have you ever seen a mom pairing garage sales, fussing and figuring? If she should ask 2 cents or 3 cents for the warped Tupperware lid. Can Mom please say 3 cents and then we can buy the yacht we've always wanted? Isn't it better to just let people suspect that you have creepy junk that to haul it all out in the driveway and prove it to them? Our 30 possessions. The lights that await you at garage sales. Large box of nasty old shoes to nicely accessorize your hobo outfit. Frank footwear, favorite for the washing machine door. All toys no longer considered legal for children. Mr. Punctual. Our garage sale, however, featured an even bigger, uglier surprise. This huge group of people started parading past our house. When I got up to see what was going on, I realized it was that stupid walkathon. I even saw Angeline and a bunch of other kids and parents for my school walk right past my actual house. I bet she was the one who chose this route. I was so mortified that they were going to see my old gross stuff for sale in the driveway that I locked myself in the room and refused to come out for as long as I lived. It was stinky stuff. If you ever decided to do something for as long as you live, you're going to find out that this takes a lot longer than you thought it would when you said it. And by dinner, I wasn't ready to put aside my mortification for the fragrance of pizza that was wafting in from downstairs. And get this, Mom gave me $45 from the sale of my old junk. And at least something good came from a public sale of shame. I guess I have to give her credit for scheduling a garage sale for when the walkathon was going by. And maybe Angeline didn't even notice my gross stuff. Okay, moms are good for certain things, like they give you cash. They seem to enjoy cleaning. It's fun to laugh at how they dressed 15 years ago. Photo album. Monday night. Dear Dumb Diary. Angeline had her picture in the town paper today, and the whole school sighed because they put the article up inside the lobby. It would be bad enough if she was just looking adorable and not sweaty, but they happened to take the photo in front of my house, and you could actually see my big or putty stain in the background. Amazingly, nobody said anything. Evidently, Angeline had forgotten I lived there. Isabella and I gave Angeline the money we had pledged the other day. Angeline walked 10 miles, so it could come out to $1 apiece. How much could she possibly have raised? $5? $6? Angeline asked us if we wanted to pledge her next charity walk, and we said that we had already committed to a different charity. Pretty fast thinking, huh? It's only because I've heard my dad use it about a jillion times when people call us at home for donations. He's got a bunch of great excuses to not fork over money. Was just robbed by teens, accidentally glued wallet shut, won't let you try to get it open, has nothing but $1,000 bill, and he's taking it to the orphanage. Tuesday, 10th. Dear Dumb Diary, Angeline is on to yet another charity. This one donates old clothes to people. She asked Nika and Hudson for a contribution, and I was just about to contribute. What a huge dipwad she is. When Hudson said he thought it was pretty cool of Angeline to work so hard for needy people. And so did Anika, which made Isabella's head nod involuntarily, because that's what her head does when several other people agree on something. Also, Angeline was wearing the beret again, which may have had some persuasive powers. When Angeline turned to me and said, "You probably got rid of all your old stuff at your garage sale on Sunday, Jamie, so I doubt you have anything to donate." Shucks, I thought. I actually thought something much worse, but I will get in huge trouble for writing it, so I'm getting to stick with shucks. Shucks, Angeline didn't know it was my house, but she can't be sure it was my stuff. I thought cleverly, make it very cleverly. Jamie Kelly, giant brain, genius girl. I have just 3 words for real giant brain genius girls. Bangs, bangs, bangs. So I said, no, that garage sale was something my mom was doing. None of that stuff was mine. I always selflessly donate my old junk to charities. I have a big bag of clothes for you. Right away. Yup, a huge bag. Pretty good thinking, huh? Except for not having a big bag of clothes. Or even a little bag. Other than that, pretty good thinking. My story had more holes in it than Dad's oldest undies. Illegal to show underpants this holy. But you have to admit it is. Admit it. It's not that hard to do. To believe in Bigfoot, is it? The teamwork experience exercise in gym class today was this. The little groups race one another in an exercise called sled dogs. One person sits on the floor on a tower and grabs on to a broom while the other members of the team drag him or her across the gym. Each person takes a turn on the tower. I guess this is to determine who is good at thinking up an excuse to not have to participate in gym that day. Please huff huff grunt. We are sled dog, being totally embarrassed for us. Anyway, Angeline must really be mad at Pensetti's head because she distracted me again, which caused me to accidentally hit him on the noggin with the broomstick when I turned to see what Blonde Wad and Hudson was giggling about this time. Pensetti was sort of dazed and spoke a little Egyptian or French or something. Dover yelled at me to be more careful, but I think Pensetti was faking it because broomsticks probably break over heads easier than you think. I also think it didn't help that Isabella was shouting again, over and over. Wednesday, 11th. Dear Dumb Diary. Today at lunch, Isabella said she'd heard that Angeline had raised $300 for her walkathon. They put a sign by the office. I couldn't believe how much more famous that made her. How famous does she need to be? If it was me, I would be totally satisfied with being partly famous and not having to go making myself famouser all the time. Probably how famous she wants to be. And all day, Isabella couldn't stop talking about the money. She was like, $300 for a charity. Nobody even knows who these people are or anything. They coughed up 300 buckaroos. Then she took a bite out of her hot dog and scared me a little. I don't know why, but to me it looked like she was pretending that the hot dog was the throat of the entire human race. Isabella came over tonight, and she brought a movie to watch, Beauty and the Beast. As it turns out, there is more than one version of this movie, and Isabella did not bring the excellent cartoon version with the singing teapot and dancing candlestick. She brought some old one with the people speaking French, sounding a lot like head injury Pensetti. And you had to read what they were saying at the bottom of the screen. These are called subtitles, and they are designed to make an irritating movie more irritating. These subtitles stayed on the screen way too long, so I kept reading them over and over, which made it seem like all the characters were repeating themselves like my grandpa does, except that At least they didn't go on and on and on and on about how they could buy a root beer for a dime when they were kids, which was good, I guess, because but you can really work up a thirst running from dinosaurs 65 million years ago. Grandpa was about my age. Anyway, the message of the movie was about the same, I guess. Real beauty comes from within, blah, blah, blah. But if this was true, instead of bathing suits and 9-inch heels, wouldn't they make the contestants bring their x-rays to the Miss America pageant? Miss America pageant. Thursday, 12th. Dear Dad, we got a huge assignment in phys ed today. Huge. I can't believe that I ever suggested to Mr. Dover that he changed the routine. If I had never done that, I would be enjoying my many assorted cramps right now instead of teamwork. Cramps are just like friends that don't want you to enjoy yourself. Here's our big assignment. This is so big that Dover is basing half of our grade on it. Each little group of 4 gets divided up. One person stands on the side of the gym, and the other 3 line up across from him or her, using only a soup pot, a rubber snake, and a high-heeled shoe. We have to get Baby Dar across the gym floor to that 4th member. We have to get the baby all the way across the gym. Isabella is not that great at Dar hoarding. But we can't just walk across the gym floor, and the baby can't touch it at all. We have to pretend the floor is full of crocodiles. And we may not simply hurl the baby across because we're supposed to pretend it's our precious baby. And if the 4th member failed to catch it, that would be curtains for baby. Other than that, Dover said, anything goes. We have 4 whole weeks to figure this out. But if we accomplish the task sooner and prove to Dover we can do it, we can't just sit around during gym and watch everybody else work it through. School is preparing for the real world with fake babies and pretend crocodiles. So Dover lined us up in our group formations. He said he could walk anywhere in the gym because he has some sort of special resistance to the crocodiles. Then he handed the dolls to the people who are going to be on the left side of the gym. Angeline took one look at her baby and said, Mr. Dover, something is wrong with our doll. Dover walked over and looked at the doll and said, Angeline, I don't see anything wrong with this. Or could you see what Hudson thinks? She said, and Dover walked over and handed it to Hudson, who were standing on the other side of the gym. Angeline smiled, looked over at Mr. Dover and said, we're done. Pure smugness. There was this moment of silence with our normal, innocent brains had to get us to speed and realize that Angeline had done. She had gotten the baby across the gym according to the rules, and she had done it in 20 seconds that the rest of us were going to need 4 weeks to do it. Plus, she had tricked the teacher to accomplish it. Right there in front of everybody. The applause was deafening. Mr. Dover, in the interest of sportsmanship, had to accept the solution. But then he set a new rule that none of the rest of us could trick a person to accomplish the task. She tricked Dover much, except for biting his head off. There's nothing kids would have expected more. I spent the rest of the class watching smugly Barretted Angeline and Hudson sit over in a corner of the gym laughing and talking while my little group dumbly scratched our dumb butts like dumb apes and came up with nothing. When class was over and it was time to clean up, I tossed the pot to Pinsetti, who it turned out wasn't looking, which was kind of his fault, according to Isabella. And I accidentally hit him right in the exact spot where I had dropped him in trust falls and where I broke the broomstick. He started yelling at me, but Isabella jumped in and said if his head is so sensitive to injury that maybe he should just suck it up and wear a helmet when I am around. I'm so glad that I have a friend like Isabella, who grew up with terrible mean brothers who made her so cruel and quick to lash out. It really is a blessing. Everybody should have a friend as mean as Isabella. I know. Why didn't Pinsetti go nuclear on me? I mean, one time he got in a fight with a kid and messed him up so bad the kid had to eat prescription soap for a month. I think it's because he had a crush on me once, and the lingering effect of the crush kept his anger subdued. It's a known science fact that crush enzymes can stay in your system for up to 6 years. Love is so powerful that only swallowed gum endures longer. How long things stay with you? After effects of crush, 6 years. Swallowed gum, 7 years. Embarrassment of your dad rapping in front of your friends. Forever, dude. Forever. Friday 13th. During lunch, Angeline came around at lunch and asked for a big bag of toast that I lied about and resolutely believed. I thought about just admitting that I didn't have any clothes for her, and besides, I really don't care that much if the people in Wittgenstein want my old junk. But then Hudson walked up with a paper bag and handed it to her. I have some stuff for that clothing charity, he said. And then he said, I think it's really great what you're doing. And I realized Angeline was not wearing a beret. He was looking at her differently than when she was merely beautiful. Hudson was impressed by her generosity. Hudson was seeing the inner Angeline. No. Oh my gosh, it's like Beauty and the Beast, except Angeline is some sort of beast that has inner beauty and outer beauty. So it's Beauty and the Beauty. There is no beast. Angeline is like one of those candies, the chocolate that's chocolate on the outside, and when you bite into it, then even better chocolate on the inside. And there's only one of those in the box. And you can't help it if you're born one of those bitter maple toffee or people flavors. If you think Angeline made me crazy before this dumb diary, that was nothing. Angeline isn't just beautiful on the outside. She may also be beautiful on the inside. Which means she is much, 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 much worse. Beauty is only skin deep, but hate goes all the way to the bone. The beautiful chrysalis opens, and the beautiful caterpillar emerges as the beautiful butterfly. Man, I hate bugs. So I told Angeline that I had forgotten the bag this morning because I was so busy making posters for my new charity taken under privileged koala to lunch day that I forgot. Of course, she was interested in the charity, but I told her we were still working out some of the details, like making sure the restaurants had enough booster seats for the koalas. I know, another lame, but it was all I could think of, and I wouldn't even look at Isabella, who I'm sure was deeply disappointed, yet again, in my lack of inner wickedness. Saturday, 14th. Dear Diary. I tore up the house this morning. We had no old clothes. Mom's brilliant garage sale strategy had wiped us out. Even Dad's old way too short shorts were gone. Just a minute, Dad. You cut them too short. Isabella wouldn't give me any of her old clothes because she said that if her clothes went to some mysterious country, they could use them to do voodoo against her. You can't really argue this sort of thing with Isabella. She feels pretty strongly about voodoo, having tried to work it several thousand times. But she did have another idea. And face it, Isabella always has great ideas. She said we just pretend we're working for Angeline charity when we are go to a couple houses of people we know and collect old clothes. It's not really a lie, right? Since we kind of are working for the charity. Isabella doesn't use pins because she says staples will probably hurt more. The first house we went to was Mrs. Clausen's. She's the old lady who lived next door to me. We told her about the charity, blah, 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 and she gave us a great big bag of clothes, so I was done in just one house. Except that when we got back to my house, we found that the entire bag was full of those giant old lady underpants that looked like old army man parachutes with two big holes shot through them. Awestruck and sickened. There was no way I was going to let Angeline think those were mine. So I gave them to Stinker to eat or baby or whatever he does with stuff like that. He was still mad at me for sitting on him, so I figured that would make us even. The Cutlers live on the other side of us, so we went there next. They have a couple of girls in college, so I figured the clothes they have to donate wouldn't make me look too bad. Just as Mrs. Cutler was handing over a couple of items, Isabella added that we were also collecting donations for the Juvenile Optometry Federation, which supplies eyeglasses and such to underprivileged kids. Incredibly, Mrs. Cutler handed Isabella $5 for it. Isabella was super happy. She must really love charity. Isabella said that she got information about the charity online and I could help her correct for it if I wanted to. So as we made the rounds for the clothes, we also picked up a few bucks here and there for the Juvenile Optometry Federation. Hooray! Now I have a charity to work for. In your face, Angeline. Now I am as gentle as sweet as you, you pig. And We got almost $15 in donation already. Look, I have as much inner beauty as blonde red. Ooh, I'll bet that animals can magically sense it. Sunday 15th. Dear Dumb Diary. Okay, remember how I didn't know exactly what Stinker would do with the bag of old lady underpants? Well, this morning I found out what he would do. He would run outside and strew them across Mrs. Clausen's front lawn from one side to the other until it looks like her lawn is covered with humongous billowy mushrooms. And of course, my first impulse would be to just close their blinds and lie about it. But if Mrs. Clausen's looked out there and saw her unmentionables being mentioned like crazy, she might have a heart attack. There was nothing I could do but run outside before anybody ever saw and gather them up. Not with my hands, of course, with barbecue tongues. I mean, come on, old lady underpants. Ugh, tools you may need to handle old lady underpants. Barbecue tongues. 11-foot pour. R2D2. So I ran over there with a little waste basket and my tongues and started picking them up and quickly getting them into the can, hopefully before Mrs. Clausen looked out the window or any neighbors walked past. I had about half of them gathered up when around the corner comes Angeline and about 1,000 of her walkathoners. Remember when Angeline mentioned the next walkathon? Turns out it was today, caught tugging the dainties. Of course, Angeline had to stop and say hi and to have a good look at the lawn, the tongues, the can, and the old lady underpants. What are you doing? She asked. Dumb Diary, I am going to level with you. It was not easy to admit the truth to Angeline, so I didn't. Mrs. Clausen has a severe allergy to dryers, so every week I charitably launder her giant harbor underpants and gently lay them out here on the lawn to dry, I said. And at that point, I gently tongued one pair of panties and spread it out carefully. It's a lot of work, and of course, a ghastly eyesore, but I do it out of charity. 1 meter harp, she said, trying to muster in on my charity. It was fake, but sir, it was mine. That's okay, I said, and waved my panty tongues at her until she and the others had walked all the way down the block. Then I scooped up Mrs. Clausen's dainties and threw them in the trash. It was a close call, Dumb Diary, but I got away with it. No more old lady underpants for Stinker. Not until Christmas, anyway. Probably Stinker's big Christmas dream. Monday, 16th. Dear Dumb Diary, it's amazing how excited Isabella is over our new charity thing. I told her that I really thought the Juvenile Optometry Federation was going to make us better people, and she agreed. In fact, she agreed so much that she even laughed a little. She's made a sign that she taped up in the hallway at school. We're supposed to get permission to tape things up, but Isabella said that charity flyers are automatically okay. She said that the government says that anything that promotes better health is also legal to put up. For instance, hey Stinky, would it cure you to take a bath? I will make hygiene my gene. Isabella even made us cute your donation cans to carry around. It was amazing. Even the assistant principal coughed up some spare change, probably because he had a soft spot for glasses. He has those kinds of ultra powerful glasses that make it look like he can see the molecules on the moon. Isabella thinks he might even be able to see an X-ray with these glasses. He wears ties, but it is nice anyway. Isabella says we're up to almost $32, and soon we'll have enough to give to the charity. We can both feel ourselves become beautiful inside. Soon our inner beauty will be so inflamed that it will rupture through our skin and spew bubbling squirts of beauty all over ourselves and all over the floor that the janitors will have to clean up with their special throw-up sawdust. Doesn't that sound magnificent? Let's say Angeline's and our beauty match up to that. Gorgeous. Spew, splash, splish, splash. Tuesday, 17th. Dear Diary, Angeline and Hudson were making me really mad today at phys ed with their stupid chatter. So I tried to get my little group to really organize and think of how to safely get our baby across the lake of crocodiles. TUKWNIF. That ugly kid whose name I forgot suggested that we put the baby in the pot and slide it across the floor. But I said if the pot tips over or doesn't make it all the way over there, the baby is crocodile chow. Total dumbness. She has tricked poor Hudson into thinking he's interested in her dumbness. Pincetti thought we could cut a baby into pieces and throw those across the gym. Mr. Lord just said that we could throw the baby, but didn't say anything about throwing chunks of baby. We decided that the multiple head injuries weren't doing Pincetti any good. But somehow, this gave Isabella an idea, though she refused to share it with us. She said she was afraid the others would hear us and steal the idea. She said she knows how to do it, but she's keeping it a secret from now. That was just as well, because we could hear the buses pulling up outside, which is sort of our cue to stop working hard because the school day is almost over. Screw your crazy talk. Oh yeah, and as I was jerking open the door to run out of the gym, I may have opened it slightly on Pincetti's face, but he should be used to that by now. He's taken more blows to the head this month than a 30 pinata at a greedy kid's birthday. Smash! Wednesday, 18th. Dear Diary. They'll announce a new fundraising jump rope-a-thon event in school today. It's a jump rope marathon, and you get people to sponsor you based on the number of times you jump over the rope without tripping. The jump-a-thon is a week from now, and the money goes to the school, which is finally a pretty good charity, I think. Maybe they can use the money to buy some new office ladies, since the ones we have now are a little wrinkled and stained. Nice new office lady, not mean. Hudson asked us if we were going to be participating. Of course, Isabella and I are doing it, but when Angeline walked by and Hudson asked her, she choked a bit before she said yes. That little choke made me think that maybe she's all out of inner beauty. Can that happen? Can you use up your inner beauty? Can you touch it up by swallowing cosmetics? Thursday 19th. Dear Diary, Isabella explained her solution yesterday in Gem. She made us huddle together so that she could secretly describe it. She was not going to let anybody else have the answer. And we heard her solution. We just smiled. She had figured it out. And we decided to try it right after class. As always, everybody immediately ran out of the gym and the bell rang, and that gave us enough time to attempt Isabella's solution before we demonstrated it in class to Mr. Dover. Isabella is as smart as a teacher and even a little meaner. We put the pot over the baby's head. Isabella explained that the pot was a safety precaution to protect the baby. I heard the rubber snake's tail, and TUKWNIF heard its head. Isabella positioned the baby in the middle of the snake body and pulled it like a slingshot. Isabella is a master aimer, because sometimes the best way for her to batter her brothers is to attack them from a distance. She let the baby go, and bang! It easily steered over to pretend the crocodile and right in the Pinsetti's arms, safe and sound. We had totally followed the rules. We hadn't thrown the baby, we launched the baby. Dover is going to give us an A for sure. Bang! And to everybody's surprise, I didn't accidentally injure a Pinsetti's head today, which I'm sure made him feel better. But that didn't last long, because when he put his cap on, I opened this gap for like the third time. Isabella gently consoled him by telling him that his head injuries are our team's good luck charm, so Pinsetti should feel proud. Also, she gently yelled at him to quit crying, which I think helped us. Times when Isabella yells to make you stop crying or start crying. To tell you she is unhappy or happy. To whisper a secret to you from across the room. Hey, you left some underpants at my house. Friday 20th. Dear Diary, Angeline's picture was in the paper again. And Hudson was the one that brought it to my attention. Look, Angeline has her picture in the paper again. This time it's for donating all those clothes. Angeline walked by, and Hudson was all. Look, Angeline, it's you again. Angeline pretended to blush. It's just the charity things. Sooner or later, they are wind up in the paper, sometimes months afterward. I don't know why I managed to get in the shots so often. Gosh, let's think about that for a moment. Gee, I can't imagine. It couldn't have anything to do with your unfairly beautiful exterior and your even beautifuler interior. Could it? No, couldn't be that. Gosh, Angeline, it's a real mystery, isn't it? It's really no wonder that photographers want to shoot her. I know I would. Was there a picture of me and Isabella raising money for charity, the Juvenile Optometry Federation? Donations now exceed $35. No, any picture of me getting pledged from a jump rope-a-thon next weekend, Wednesday? No, I'm up to 3 pledges. Thank you very much. Dad couldn't donate. He said he lost his wallet at a rodeo. Wait a second. I don't remember any rodeo. I think Dad's excuse might have been pure bore. Saturday, 21st. Dear Diary, today seemed like a great day to do charity. Isabella said that she knew she'd be more beautiful soon, too. We tried to get a jump-a-thon money from her folks, aunts, uncles, cousins, neighbors, you name it. and we watched the sponsors escalate from 3 sponsors to mind-boggling 7 sponsors. 7 sponsors. That's 7 sponsors between us. Most people pledge a penny on top. So if Isabella and I jump rope 100 times in a row, we may raise enough money to provide one student with a box of crayons. Not the box of 64 with a sharpener, of course, just a box of 16. And not even a good brand, just those waxy ones that give you at the restaurants. Even though they gave you the crayons, do not draw cute pictures of the waitress on your placemat. The dumb fat-butted waitress. She will spill coffee on your dad, which means I didn't get to order dessert. Sunday 22nd. Dear Diary, Isabella came over today to practice jumping rope. We figure that our best strategy is to jump way longer than 100 jumps. I'm an only child, which means that growing up, I often had nothing better to do than stand out in the driveway by myself and practice jumping rope. Kids with no brothers or sisters usually have a couple of these skills that require a lot of alone practice time. Skippy, skippy, skip, skip, skippy. As I've tried to explain to you a million times, Isabella has me in order, but the jump rope was an essential toy for her as well. Not only is she good at jumping, she has kung fu-like abilities with it. When her brothers hear the sound of the rope whisking on the cement, the hair on the back of their necks stand up. No wonder. I've seen her do some pretty scary things with it. Splunk. We practiced for a long time this afternoon. We are pretty sure we can easily do more than 100 tops. We might even be able to buy the score as many as 2 pairs of those small blunt darts scissors that you only try to use when somebody else is borrowing the teacher's good scissors. Or maybe we can just buy Margaret a light snack of 40 pencils or so. Other things our school should buy: adorable earphones for the federal female custodians, a puppy to live inside every locker, drinking fountains that laser beam people can spit their gum out in them. Monday 23rd. Dear Diary, today I asked Isabella if she wanted to try to raise more money for the Juvenile Optometry Federation, and she looked at me as though she had never heard of it. Had she forgotten about our charity already? After a few minutes, it all came back to her, and she said that she sent the money, and now they had enough, and we can stop raising money. What Isabella's face does when she can't remember something. Can you believe it? We totally filled up a charity. Of course, I had to walk over and share with Hudson, who was being victimized by having lunch with Angeline. We filled our charity all the way to the top. I said full up, completely charitized them. Yep, we charitized the crude out of those kids. How beautiful are we, those far-sighted little brats are probably drowning in money. Yay. But Angeline did not look wounded by the huge club of pure charity that I had just hit her in the face with. She looked sort of impressed. And so did Hudson. Maybe some of my inner beauty was starting to leak out. It probably wasn't a barrette, because I'm still not sure I'm getting the most out of this thing, and I don't think I'm remembering to wear it all the times. Woof, ugly, plain, slightly cute, pretty, gorgeous. My inner beauty is on the rise. Beauty. Tuesday, 24th. Dear Dumb Diary. What the heck? We were all ready to do our final test on filing our precious baby through the air, but Dover said we had to help get the gym set up for the jump rope-a-thon, which is tomorrow after school. I was pretty upset until I realized that this meant that Annika, Munch, Blondwad, and Hudson had to help, but has gone totally flat from non-stop lazy sitting on the gym floor. There was not too much to do, really. Hang a few banners, get the tables and chairs set up for the judges, open the doors and windows to help air out the odor of kid stink. Dover could easily have done this without our help, but some teachers tend to think that the kids should do their physical work for them, like farm animals, except even a little grosser in the case of Margaret, who did not miss the chance to sneak a couple of secret munches on one of the pencils from the judge's table. Munch, bite, crunch, bite, nibble, chew, bite, slobber. I don't want to say she started eating a lot of pencil, but when she farts, I swear you can almost see a little puff of sawdust. Poof. Wednesday, 24th. Dear Dumb Diary, jump rope-a-thon day. Score was normal. That's how it started anyway. And then, like everything that starts normal, it becomes abnormal. Right after school, just before we went to the gym, Isabella came out of the bathroom and walked right into a wall. When she turned toward me, I saw that she was not wearing her glasses anymore. And when she got closer, I could see that her eyes were green, just like a jelly bean. Isabella, what happened to your eyes? I said, I got contacts. She said, just put them in. Cool, huh? Where did you get the money for contacts? I said, knowing that her parents would not have approved, and that Isabella would have a very hard time saving money. The Juvenile Optometry Federation, she said, plus I had a few bucks saved up. And she laughed at psychopaths laugh when they have you cornered in the basement. The weird eyes completed the psychopath effect nicely. I felt sick. Isabella had faked the charity, and I had helped her. Isabella, our inner beauty, what have you done? Look, she said, they're in my eyes, right? And they're beautiful. Bang! Inner beauty. I didn't have enough for the tinted ones, so I colored them myself. I think I may have used a little too much green marker on them, and I might have wrecked the left one. If you get some, you should take them out of your eyes before you color them. Squeak, squeak. Only Isabella and space aliens are capable of doing this. They were packed practically stolen, kind of. But there was nothing I could do, and Isabella knew it. I had helped her, so if I ratted her out, I'd be in just as much trouble as she would be. We faked out the principal, which is kind of faking out the president. All I could do was lead her to the gym. She was almost blind. Lots of kids showed up to participate in the jump rope-a-thon. I didn't see Angeline right away, which is odd because she is so into these things. Mr. Dover and a few other teachers were the judges, but a couple of them were late. So Mr. Dover asked if Isabella and I could help by counting other kids jump first, and then do our jumping last. Since we were totally jumping experts, we said okay. As the participants did their jumps, we'd record the numbers and drop the sheets off with the judges. Isabella had to count by the sound of the jumps, of course, because her vision was blurry from her contacts. Margaret and TUKWNIF were really good jumpers. No doubt that time alone to practice thing hard. And jet rope handles are big, juicy, delicious knobs of wood. And we all know how that appeared to Margaret. Never caught her, but I'm sure she got in a little knot time. After a while, we got down to the last few jumps, and Angeline slid into the gym. She had this look on her face I had never seen before. She called me over, and she was sort of panicked. I wish that Isabella could have seen her, but her eyes had started to roar independently like chamelons. Marker poisoning? When Angeline had me alone, "Are you ready for this?" confessed. She was almost crying when she told me that she couldn't jump rope by herself. Hardly at all. See, it's like I said before. Jumping rope is a skill you practice when you spend lots of time alone. Angeline, being totally popular and always busy, has never had time to master it. I just knew that if I lived long enough, I'd discover the bad side of intense popularity. You never get any me time. It's always we time. You're followed everywhere, maybe even into the bathroom. Even your we time is we time. Yep, it's a tragic moment from Angeline, and wonderful tragic moment. It was so sad I almost burst out laughing. But the moment didn't last. She showed me her pledge sheet. Angeline had more than 100 sponsors. She may be bad at jumping rope, but she's great at collecting for charities. Every time that rope went around, Angeline would like $10. Angeline would make like $10 or something for the score. Tons of cash. It was so wonderful. All that money, and she was going to blow it because she couldn't work a stupid jump rope. So much for your inner beauty, ANG. Wait till everybody finds out how you let the horse score down. The score. Plunk. No, the score. Why did I even have to think about the score? If I let Angeline fail, it would be a huge blow to her. Her popularity, her inner beauty, her smart but red skills, and her evil power over Hudson. But it would also be a huge blow to the score. Nobody else had anywhere near as many sponsors. I had seen the sheets. Without this money, the school could face terrible cuts like these. The orchestra could get reduced to kazoos only. They might have to stop giving teachers free coffee. Zzz. The cafeteria might switch meatloaf from Thursdays to 7 days a week and make us come in for lunch on weekends. And as I looked into Angeline's eyes, I saw that she was sad. Like real sad. Not sad like when a beagle can't scratch the bread off his ears. But sad like when you're letting everybody down. And she made my inner beauty squirt out of me until I was standing in a puddle of my own loveliness. I had created a monster, a beast, and it was me. I was the real beauty of the beast and the beast of beauty. Oh no, I made myself too beautiful inside. I went over and asked Dover if the jumpers had to hold the jump rope themselves, or if they could just jump it, because if they had to hold it, that wouldn't be fair to people without no hands. Like pirates. Dover looked in the rules and said that the person only had to jump. Somebody else could hold the rope. That's right. Somewhere there is somebody who is such a huge nerd that he wrote a jump rope rule book. I told Isabella that I wanted her to help me twirl the rope for Angeline. Angeline had way more pledges than we had, and this was the only right thing to do for her for the sake of the charity. Jump rope rule book. Okay, not okay. Isabella said, forget it, and she wanted to storm off, but her vision being what it was, she could only wander off aimlessly. So I got up real close to her face, and I made my voice as low and as dangerous as hers. And I said to her, Isabella, either you do this, or I'll tell your parents and everybody how you got the money for your contact lenses. You'll be grounded until you graduate from college. Where did all that inner beauty go? I could hardly believe I had said it. Isabella's eyes started to tear up a little, but it wasn't because I hurt her feelings, and it wasn't because her contacts were bugging her. It was because she was moved. See, Isabella is a master of blackmail. It's one of the horrible abilities her brother's cruelty has forced her to develop. After all these years, Isabella could see that I had finally learned something wicked from her. She was touched by my inner ugly, which to her is exactly like inner beauty. So much that I moved her to tears. Okay, she said. Angeline does know how to jump rope with somebody else towards it, and actually she can jump pretty well, not like Isabella, and not at all like me, but she jumped for a long time, and we raised a bunch of money for the school. This was probably going to be her biggest jackpot yet. And her inner beauty was fame were going to skyrocket off the charts. I was furious and delighted at the same time. Why can Angelina only jump this way? Maybe because she's used to playing in groups and she needs both hands to keep her hair out of her eyes. Thursday, 26. Dear Diary, my arms were killing me when I woke up this morning. You use different muscles when you twirl a rope for somebody else, and I felt like I had a huge Charlie horse in my shoulders. Can you get Charlie horse in your shoulders? Anyway, this was worse. More like a Charlie moose. Why do they call a bad guy Payne Charlie Horse? Why don't Jane Donkey or Bob the Penguin? Isabella wanted to do our solution for Dover in gym class today. I told her that my arms were killing me and I tried to talk her out of it, but she was sure she wanted to go for it. And you know how she gets. We waited until towards the end of the class so we could review our solution and make sure it would go as planned. We could hear the buses starting to pull up, so we had to move quickly. Dover watched as we loaded the baby into the slingshot. Isabella started to pull it back, but her contact lenses were bugging her eyes. She was having a hard time aiming. I could tell she was off target, but my arms hurt so bad I couldn't compensate for it. And when she let the baby go, it wasn't exactly heading in the right direction. Pinsetti probably could have caught it, but a month of head injuries had him spooked. And he ducked, so our baby, with a big metal pot on his head, smashed right through the window. Crash, duck. Then it rolled down the little outside the gym and off the curb and under the wheel of one of the buses as it was pulling up. We looked out just in time to see the bus roll over it and leave a big dirty baby pancake on the asphalt. This is about as bad as a baby's day can go. I don't think Dover even knew what to say. The baby would have had a better chance of survival with the crocodiles. All Dover did was shake his head slowly and walk away. I guess we were failing. Squishing a baby under a bus is going to get you an F in almost any class. I could hardly bear to look at Hudson, and I knew that Angeline was going to laughing her head off. Not only had we not saved the baby, it looks as though maybe the baby had done something to make us really, really angry. But Angeline wasn't laughing. She was motioning me over to her. For a second, I thought maybe she wanted to laugh at me close up. She leaned in close and whispered to me, "Sacrifice. I don't think I would have known what she meant before. But now, since I had lots of inner beauty, I suddenly understood. Sacrifice. Inner beauty." "Mr. Dover," I said, "there's more." We quickly gathered everybody's dolls and handed them to Isabella Pinsetti and TUKWNIF. Then I walked into the center of the gym. I announced, "Where the crocodiles are busy eating me, the rest of my team will quickly sneak everybody's babies safely across the gym floor." Mr. Dover looked astonished. "Jamie, you're going to let the crocodiles eat you? Doesn't that mean you fail?" he asked. "I already failed," I said, "but now everybody else passes and ahead of schedule. So they got next week off, right?" Dover smiled. He even clapped a couple of times. He said to the whole class, "She's right." The only solution to this problem was for one member to give up everything for the rest of the team. During thrust farts and sled dogs, one person counted on the group. In this exercise, the group counts on one person. You got it, Jamie. A+. After class, Hudson and I talked and laughed on our way to the lockers. Angeline passed us and said hello. I said hi back, but Hudson never even saw her. I guess her inner beauty is no match for mine. I really don't know why I didn't start having any inner beauty before this. It's really way easier than monkeying around with a perfect. And now Angeline is some sort of invisible rodent girl. Friday 27th. Dear Dumb Diary, never do anything ever. That's my new motto. This morning I was feeling pretty good about my new inner beauty, and Isabella was feeling pretty good about her new contacts. She was telling Margaret all about them, but I couldn't tell that she thought she was talking to me. I think I'd better take Isabella back to the eye doctor and get those contacts fixed. How Isabella sees the world now. Me, Margaret, Stinker's butt. Angeline was at her locker today, and right above it was a sign the school had put up that said, "Congratulations, Angeline. You raised $600 for the jump rope-a-thon, a new state record." But Angeline wasn't outgoing like she usually is when she accomplishes more fame for herself. In fact, she seemed a little sad. The normal glow of perfectness dipped in sadness. What is it? What is this? Why do I have to feel this way? Is the ugly side effect of beauty? Is this the ugly side effect of beauty? Having to think about how the other people feel? Anyway, Hudson came up to me and started talking, and I could see Angeline's huge, horrible, beautiful, bright index, blue eyes glimmering like a blue-eyed blonde puppy whose head is clamped in a tightening vice. Why do I think of these things? Hudson was there, practically wading up to his waist to my gushing inner beauty. But then something beautiful inside crawled up to my throat and out my mouth and said this. You know, Hudson, it was Angeline who helped me starve that baby and the crocodile puzzle yesterday. I would never have thought of making that sacrifice without her. And then Hudson smiled at Angeline. Who could blame him? The all inner beauty plus subtle beauty was pretty delicious, perfect. Gagging on your own beauty is worse than gagging on almost anything else. Gag. I looked up at Angeline's jump rope-a-thon sign and then locked her eyes with Angeline. I tried to broadcast fair and fair with my eyes, and I guess she got the message. Because she said to Hudson, for as long as we are being totally honest, Jamie will help me with the jump rope-a-thon. Without her, I probably could never have raised a single dollar. Shouldn't there be a law with how long your eyelashes can be? Ocean of pure beauty. Then Hudson turned to me again. I should be required to have a lifeguard posted on my head because now he was drowning in my ear in our beauty. I mean, seriously, I was looking pretty incredibly. Come on, even Angeline knew she was no match for me now. And I didn't even have the barbette in. Do you want to know how I know she knew it? Because the next thing she did was pour out a copy of today's paper, Ocean of Pure Beauty. Jamie's picture is on the paper, she told Hudson, and she was right. The picture was from a walkathon. Not the first one, when Angeline walked past our garage sale, but the second one. When she saw me in Mrs. Clausen's golden lady underpants. Remember how I told you that Angeline Jody junk always winds up in the papers? I hardly even noticed this guy and his camera. Here's how the picture looked with Angeline's $1 smile and me with a tongue full of hag panties. The caption was something like, "Burnout charity participant pausing during walkathon, watch girl play with others' underpants." Hudson read it and then looked at me as though I had been eating the underpants. I tried to say something, but words can fail you at a moment like that. I mean, it was me in the picture, and even though I wasn't playing, that what I was doing wasn't much better. My inner beauty was rapidly being replaced with inner weirdness. Angeline and Hudson walked away laughing and talking. Angeline looked back over her shoulder, and it seemed as if she was sending me a message like, "Look, it's not your fault. You were photographed pantifying a yard in broad daylight when a photographer walked past. She's right. I guessed it was her fault. Not really, but it wasn't exactly my fault either. There shouldn't be somebody to blame, right? I mean, all the time. There should be somebody, and it's just their job to be blamed. We need to be able to blame somebody for mosquito bites where you can't reach, Jello with chlorine bits in it, not letting us have koalas as pets because, honey, those things want to be cuttered up big time." Saturday 28th. Dear Diary. I went with Isabella and her dad to get her contacts fixed today. She told her dad that she had saved all the money up and he said he was going to buy them for her on her birthday anyway. They have a little collection box at the optometrist's office for a charity that really and truly does help underprivileged kids get glasses. I put $30 into make up for most of the money that Isabella and I had collected for her made-up charity. I had to, even though it doesn't make up for Isabella lying about it in the first place. I knew I did the right thing. Thank you, every penny helps. Isabella got new contacts, but she said they bothered her eyes even more than the old ones. And by the time we got back to her house, she whispered to me that she was going back to her glasses. It may have something to do with the pictures in the optometrist's office of gorgeous models wearing glasses. Now Isabella probably thinks her glasses make her a supermodel. I had made $45 off the garage sale, but even after the eye doctors, I still had $15 left. So that was still pretty decent for a bunch of old junk under Mrs. Clausen card. She had seen the picture in the paper also, and said if I was just going to play with her underpants, then she wanted them back. Since I had thrown them out, Mom confiscated the remaining $15 to buy her new ones, underpants wage. And worse, she made me go with her to buy the replacements. I felt bad about Mrs. Clausen's ghastly giant bloomers. So I gave Mom an extra $10 from my piggy bank to buy her something nicer ones. I suggested a thong, but then my stomach something flowery instead. Pretty charitable of me, huh? Maybe I do have inner beauty after all. One secret Victoria should keep. Mrs. Clausen's and down too horrible to show even in my own diary. When we got home, there was a big envelope on the front porch addressed to me. It was from Angeline. Inside a big old pudding-stained duck shirt and a note which said, "Jamie, I couldn't bear for other people to see this terrible thing. If you so bought it from the garage sale and have been keeping it hidden in my room. There's a good motto. Never let your mom do anything ever. Angeline." It looks like Angeline bought this grimy thing at our garage sale and hid it from the other walkathoners, which I had to admit was pretty darn charitable. Which now you had to admit was pretty charitable for me to admit. Maybe we all have inner beauty. Is that possible? Even the pencil readers and the Mike Pinsettis and that ugly kid whose name you can't remember, even the girls who fake Trudy like the underpants string bee girls, and the moms who put your wretchedness on display, and even the girls with tons of outer beauty. Maybe they do. Maybe we all do. And sometimes you think it needs a barrette or colored contact lenses to really make it shine. But like a huge meatloaf rope while you're running laps, beauty usually just comes bubbling up when you least expect it. Thanks for listening, Dumb Diary. Jamie Kelly. The end of Dear Dumb Diary. Never do anything ever.